Welcome back to Tang Time, where I teach you how to lower your score without having to work on your golf swing. On today's agenda, I'm going to show you how to hit out of the rough. Missing the fairway can sometimes be pretty penalizing, especially if the rough is thick. So I'm going to help you identify how the ball is going to react out of what kind of grass. There isn't just one way to play a shot out of the rough. So let's get you good at golf. There are two different types of lies in the rough, and you need to determine how you're gonna hit each one. We have the nestled down ball, and we have the fluffy ball. This is gonna be easier to hit because it's kind of like it's teed up. You're gonna see this kind of lie more in Bermuda grass because it has the strength to hold the ball up. On bent grass, the grass is more wispy and it'll nestle down more often than not. This is sometimes known as a flyer lie, and this is sometimes known as a knuckleball. You're gonna be able to catch a lot more ball on this shot, but you're not gonna create as much spin, and that's why they call it a flyer lie. It comes out hot off the club face and potentially bounces or flies far. The knuckleball, you're not gonna be able to get your club on the back of the ball very well. There's gonna be so much grass between the club face and the golf ball. So for this shot, you're gonna expect the ball to come out lower and run a lot further. We're in the rough and we have a very nestled lie. What is our goal when we're trying to hit a shot like this? Get it on the green, duh. Wrong. Our goal is to get the ball back in play. We want to either be back in the fairway or just short of the green to give ourselves the best opportunity on our next shot. What we don't want is trying to muscle this shot out of this thick rough and ending up just 10 yards in front in the rough again. Because there is so much grass behind the golf ball, when your club comes down, the club head is going to decelerate once it hits the grass. And it's very easy for that grass to hold the toe or hold the heel and flip the club face wide open or shut it down, creating weird and bad contact. So the goal on this shot is to try to maintain a square club face through impact. And it's easiest to do that when you swing a 3/4 golf swing. You don't want to take a club that's too low lofted, like a 4 or a 5 iron. It's not going to have enough loft to pick the ball out of this thick rough. So we're going to go with something like a 7 iron or an 8 iron. Remember, we want to get our ball back into play, because this is a tough lie. Because the ball is so buried, it's gonna come out much lower. And we're gonna just lean into that and play a lower trajectory shot. If you haven't seen my video on how to play a low trajectory shot, go check it out. I have a 7 iron in my hands. I'm gonna set up with the ball a little bit behind center. That's gonna allow me to hit it on the downstroke and trap the ball, which is going to, surprisingly enough, pop it up. And I'm expecting to hit this kind of poopy because of how much grass is going to be between the club and the back of the ball. I'm only trying to hit this about 100 to 120 yards. What I'm going to focus on is connecting my elbow to my hip and compressing it at the same time to try to maintain that square club face. What you don't want to do is go after the golf ball and try to dig it out, because then your club is just going to get stuck in that thick rough even more. Just maintain a square club face, swing as you normally would through the golf ball. You know the ball is coming out low, so you know it's gonna run. And all you have to do is play for that. Now let's take a look at a shot where the ball is sitting very high on the top of the grass. So instead of having a lot of grass between the club and the back of the ball, we have a lot of air. There's a lot of air between the ball and the bottom of the ground. So when you're hitting in the fairway, the club is going to bottom out on the fairway as it's making contact with the ball. But because the ball is sitting so high, it's kind of like it's on a tee. If you bottom out on the ground when your ball's on the tee, your club is gonna go right under the golf ball. And that's a mistake that we're gonna have when the ball is sitting up on a fluffy lie. We don't wanna hit this 100%. When you're swinging really hard and there's no ground to deflect the club, you're going to hit underneath the golf ball. We have to be aware of where the club face is. It's gonna feel like you're floating the golf club as if it's in the air, because the ball is in the air. So when you make the swing, you're going to maintain the club higher than the ground. When the ball comes out of a lie like this, it's not gonna have as much spin as if it was on a tight lie in the fairway. The nestled lie means you have to be a little conservative and a little bit careful with your shot. But a fluffy lie can be all over the pin on this one. So let's give it a swing. Like this video if you're trying to improve your golf score. I have the ball teed up here, and this is kind of the visual I want you to imagine when you have a fluffy lie in the rough. When it's really fluffy, there's a ton of air between the ball and the ground. So you're gonna be hovering your golf club when you try to make impact. So if you try to hit really hard, it's really easy to get right underneath that golf ball. That's why we still wanna play a controlled shot so that we're able to make sure that the club head stays in the air during impact. This is a great way for your mind to understand what the ball is doing when it's on a fluffy lie in the rough. Don't feel intimidated or discouraged when you hit into the rough. Just have to realize how the golf club is going to react with the grass. When you hit into the rough, make sure you assess the kind of lie that you have. How much grass is underneath the ball? How much grass is behind the ball? Hitting into the rough is technically hitting it out of play. Don't try to be a hero and think that you're going to be able to get it on the green and close to the hole. We're setting ourselves up for the best next shot. It's not easy to hit a really clean and perfect shot out of the rough, and you should not expect to. Know that your shot is going to be a little bit poopy, a little bit slappy, a little bit dirty, but that's just what the rough is. Trust that and embrace the miss. The rough at some courses can be really penalizing. So the green doesn't always need to be your target. Sometimes your target just needs to be the center of the fairway 100 yards away. Adjust your expectations and then you'll exceed them. So please like, subscribe, and stay tuned for my next episode.